Good morning, guys. In today's call, I want to talk about two things in addition to our normal progress call, which is there's two ways to earn money online, from my experience. One is you can consistently do the right fundamentals, and that is two things. One is traffic. You have to get traffic to whatever it is that you're doing. And the second part is you have to have a product or service that meets that traffic's needs and they will convert. The basics are just those two things. You figure out how to get traffic, and the easiest way to do that is to find where the traffic already is. Let's say if you go to eBay or Poshmark or Amazon or YouTube or Google, these are places where people go to search for things. Then the product or service, you don't have to make your own. You can sell somebody else's product or service. And people who've already spent, billions of dollars on advertising have the easiest stuff to sell because they've already put the work and effort into this. So interestingly enough, yesterday I wrote down all the different ways that I've learned to make money over the past 3 years. In 2014, I actually quit my awesome job to make zero. My boss called it golden handcuffs, and nothing worked for like 3 years. And then in 2017, when I found reselling, it gave me runway. So what that means is I built my store up from November to February 1st. It only took me 3 months to build a 5,000 item store. 5,000 item store. And this is roughly 480 listings a week. So what Matt was talking about. I had two full-time people pumping stuff into my store, and I was the manager. And for 3 straight months. Then the last 6 months, I've just maintained that 5,000 item store because I've been not sure if I want to grow it or not. But during this time of learning this process, I figured of all the 10 different, I've actually earned $10,000 or more in 12 different ways since 2017. But the reason I can do that is because my resale business has paid my bills, or a different source of income has paid my bills. So that's like the key. The key is getting your basic bills taken care of, and then you can think about other things. So this is why I've been asking myself my why, and I'm asking everyone in the group their why, because it makes it easier to determine how to approach this. So my why is not worrying about money. My whole life I worried about money. My parents did the best they could, but they always worried about money. So how to not worry about money, I think, is to figure out what your expenses are and then figure out how to cover that. So reducing your expenses is one way to make it easier for you to not worry about money. So this is why I've been thinking about different ways of saving money. Yesterday, I realized that I actually find joy from saving money. That never happened before. I always only found joy in earning more money my entire life. It's like, you want a Porsche? Buy it and figure out how to pay it. You want this? Just do it. But now I figure I actually get joy from lowering my monthly expense, because that means I need less money to not have to worry about money. So buying expensive stuff is different than not having to worry about money. So now my expenses are under $1,000 other than my mortgage. So that's like really easy to accomplish $1,000 of online income. All you have to do is put together the basics of traffic, the two things I talked about, which is traffic and the product or services. So that's a never ending thing. Now, there's two things that are insane. One is just consistently doing that. So consistently finding good products and services and putting it onto these platforms. That's the first way of doing it. This is the same thing as a job. People who are trying to replace their 9 to 5, and now they go out and find 50 to 100 items a week and flip it. You just traded your job for something that makes $500 to $2,000 a week. If you're a really, really, really talented picker and you find tons and tons of home runs, your income is still capped. You can't grow beyond you have so many hours in the week. So this is the second part that's really powerful. And that's the point of this book, which is compounding. Once you start compounding things that you do, there's certain things like replenishables compound your time because you only list one time, but they sell over and over again. It's relationships at the thrift store or a supplier. These things compound because now some people are doing part of the work for you, because that's what it is. So if you want to make $1 million a year, the advice I got from people who do that is have 50 employees that make you 20 grand a year. Almost any employee in any job can earn you $20,000 a year if you're doing it right. Otherwise, why do you have that person? So I think that's important to think about. However much money you want, you can just divide that by the number of employees you need. Those employees do the same thing. The thing that triggered this for me was I was talking to, I know 2 YouTubers who made $500,000 last year. Both of them made more, they consistently pushed out something that improved their channel every single time. I know several resellers who make, I would say, I don't know anybody that makes 500,000, but I know people who make 250,000 or more reselling, and it's the same thing. They keep upgrading, better warehouse, better employees, better suppliers. But this is one thing they didn't do. They didn't work more hours in the week because you can't. So I want people to think about how to, if you compound over time, your business ends up in a really crazy place versus just consistently doing it. But consistently doing it can pay your bills. So those are the two things. But either way, actually, let me back up. Either way, you have to be consistent. Either consistently improve your store or just consistently do the same thing week after week after week. So I want people to think about their why. And the way to get to the true why is to ask yourself why 5 times in a row. Keep asking why. I want to make extra money. Why do you want to make extra money? Oh, so I can not worry about money. Essentially, is probably the last reason. Or maybe you want to take care of your family. But to me, that's the same thing as not worrying about money. So you can think about that number and you can buy your own freedom. That's like the financially independent retire early community always says, what is the number you need to not have to worry about money? Then let's earn that amount of money in the shortest amount of time. The weird thing about the financially independent community is they're frugal, but that frugal mentality usually results in them making more than $150,000 a year. So imagine making $150,000 a year and your bills are $10,000 a year. Of course, you'll become financially independent really quickly. That's the idea behind that. I've met several people like that. And when they make it to retirement, they still keep working. It's not like they stop. Yeah, so Jeffrey Anderson pointed this out. This is great. Most people say they want to make extra money, but they're not sure what to do with the extra money. And one of the people I look up to is Gary Keller. He says that you need a plan for the extra money before you even start. So when he started Keller Williams, he has a plan for all the money that the company makes beyond what he needs all goes to charity. He's already decided that, once you get a comfortable lifestyle. So this reminds me of Don because he's in the South Bay. I met a gentleman that owns part of the real estate that Santana Row is on. So his family bought that plot for $10,000 back in the day. And now that same plot, they bought it for $10,000. That plot earns $600,000 a month in rent now. But they bought it for 10K like a million years ago when it was dust. Okay. So that guy has increased his income for like 3 decades. But his family lives on 12,000 a month and the rest they give to charity. I thought that was interesting. And he told me, he's like, look, 12 grand is not frugal. We have awesome stuff and amazing house. It's not like we're that cheap, but we don't need more than that. So the rest of it goes to people who do. So just interesting looking at these kinds of things, but real estate is crazy. It's like one of those only things that you like over the course of 30 or 50 years. It's insane. So anyway, make money reselling and put it into more passive stuff if you can. So I want people to think about their why. Then timeline. What is your why? How much money do you want to make, and then by when? And that's going to determine different priorities. So if you want to make $1 million in the next year, it's very different than in the course of 10 years. But everyone can do that. It's 50 employees. Everyone can write down the plan to do that and then execute it. It might take you longer than other people, but 50 employees is totally doable. You might have to save up money and buy some franchises, because those are like, I think if you had 3 Subway sandwich shops, you could have 50 employees. So just something to think about. Let's start with Matt. Matt, how are you compounding your business? What are you thinking about?
Well, for me right now, I've got supply figured out pretty well. I don't have a backup plan for supply, but that's allowed me to grow a lot right now. I'm looking for employees, but eventually the next bottleneck is going to be infrastructure. I need an actual warehouse, so I'm not having to just like work ridiculously hard instead of smart, you know. That's going to be the next big bottleneck, I think, for me. Infrastructure. If I could just go ahead and buy a warehouse, that'd be great, but
How much
we'll
space
get
do you
there.
need?
I really don't need that much space for. I don't know. I mean, if I got a 20,000 square foot warehouse, I would eventually fill it up. So I might as well get something big the first time I get something.
I mean, usually people grow into it, but you could just get 20,000 square feet is enormous.
I know. I could ramp this up from 2 pallets a week to 20.
Yeah, that's true.
So uh, for me, I don't know if I should make that small step into a small warehouse and then outgrow it, or I could just go ahead and get. See, I wish I had enough actual cash flow right now so I could afford some land and then I could put up my own building that was like custom fitted for exactly what I needed. Because I'm pretty good at like designing stuff and like figuring out exactly where things go, kind of like engineering,
Mhm.
blueprinting, and stuff like that. I'm pretty good at that. So if I could just have my own land and build a building, that would be ideal.
That's interesting, Matt, because I would the largest stores online list roughly 10,000 items a day. So
Yeah,
at 500 pallets, I'm sorry, 500 items a pallet, because usually it's small stuff.
yeah,
That means it's 20 pallets a day. So I think most of us in this group with a little bit of practice could do 1 pallet a day. So at least you can I think I can kind of see what 20 pallets looks like. It's a lot of people, but I mean,
yeah. That's like 100, 200 people or something. That's a
yeah,
lot.
that's right. It's like 150 people.
Yeah,
But it's something to think about. Like, that's at least we can see what the largest resellers would do, because you're talking about 20 pallets a week. They just do that per day. Kind of
yeah. And I
insane, but
like
that's possible. Go ahead.
I like thinking about it where it's like I have my own slice. I don't want the giant slice like that. I don't want 200 employees. I want maybe 10, maybe at the most 10. I really, I just want something that can make me a few $1,000s a month that I don't have to touch. That's the biggest deal for me. Getting a manager that's worth a shit.
Yeah, that's true. So that's cool. I love it. That's it made me think yesterday, Matt, that we had a similar goal of 2,000 listings, sort of passively. But yesterday I rewrote the plan with 3,000 listings so I could afford a manager.
Mhm.
And I did 100 listings a day for maybe 10 months last year, and I hated it. It was 7 people. So I didn't know I did not know how to do it. So I don't recommend, I recommend doing what you're doing, which is like slowly doing it.
Yeah.
So I just bought all those items and then just listed them, not knowing what I was doing. So but I'm thinking 2,000 listings does not afford you a manager, from my experience.
For me, I think it does. I have very low expenses.
No,
So
wait, aren't you the manager though in that model? No,
if I did 500 items a week that I could make $5 or $10 on each,
right?
if I did all the work.
Hmm.
I can make $5 each if with 3 employees.
Hmm.
Let's say,
That's $5 for an item for each person.
yeah, it's $2,500 a week. 5 times 500. five
Right.
dollars times 500. $2,500 a week. That's allocated just to help. That's three
But the,
employees.
I know, but how does that doesn't equal if I guess it depends on how much they're making. I did that exact same math, and with $2,500, that's not three people. That's like
You don't think
two people.
so?
Well, how much do you want to pay your manager? I want them to make like 20 an hour, maybe at least.
Yeah, I was thinking something like a grand a week, and then the other two
So
can make 750 a week. Or, well, the photographer's only not even going to make $500, right? He's getting paid 75 cents per pair of jeans.
okay,
A lister could make maybe a dollar 50 per, because that's a harder job that takes a longer amount of time.
okay, 1K a week for a manager, 750 per regular person.
A
Okay,
photographer is really closer to like 400.
okay, so let's break that down. Let's put 400 for the photographer. Let's just say 500 for the photographer. 500 for the photographer. That gives you a bigger budget. If you have 500 for the photographer, a grand a week for the manager, then you have 1,000 left.
Yeah,
But does this include like the rent and the
that's already factored into the 10.
okay. So then it's a higher profit item.
Yeah, I try to squeeze as much as I can out of all the stuff. I got a slow sell through rate. It's only like 13, 14% or something, but I uh I typically sell things for like more than they're worth.
Okay. Then hmm. So I was thinking about 2,000 items that are $10 before all the rent and stuff like that. But if it's after $10, then it's more like $13 profit an item.
Well, for me, my
How does
rent and electricity and stuff's super low. So,
yeah,
it may be 11 instead of 13,
fair
because
enough.
I don't even think my expenses are $2,000 a month. I mean, even including like poly mailers and supplies and stuff, they're not even 2,000 a month.
Hmm. Okay. Dude, that thank you for sharing. That is interesting. So I guess you could just instead of um hmm, I think that there's also would your manager also manage the suppliers?
Yeah. Yeah, the manager would replace me. The manager would basically be wearing the hat of owner in my mind.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, I don't expect 500 sales every week. I expect 400, 450, because there's some stuff that just will never sell.
Hmm.
It, I think, it's yet to be seen because I'm not at that volume of store yet. But I don't think I'm going to get 500 sales a week consistently, even if I list 500 things. So I got to figure out a way to deal with the old stuff, discount it really, really heavily, maybe make $1 on it or something. But either way, I'm only going to get 400 sales if I list 500 a week in my mind. So it's not going to be $10 profit on 500 items. It's only going to be 400 items.
I got it. This is it's good too, shooting for like the minimum
Yeah,
amount.
conservative approach.
Because right now I'm at 1,000 sales a month in this new store. 5,000 items, 20% selling is 1,000. I'm aiming for at least $10, but at $5 an item profit, I can still more than comfortably pay my bills.
Yeah.
So that's interesting looking at like shooting for if the manager's job was to get $15 an item and he got a C minus, he would still pass for your minimum needs.
Well, I'm thinking about it like maybe I can set it up so that the manager. It depends on how good the manager and how ambitious the manager is, but you could pay him based on revenue of the store.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then you'd really have to have somebody that wanted to like start their own business, you know?
Well, well, if I follow the advice of Gary Keller, he would say you have to hire a manager that can grow your store.
Okay.
And if you can do that, then it's more stable, because if staying the same means you're going down.
Yeah.
So, I have to now add that criteria to the person. They have to grow that at least one person. Ideally, all the people in your company want to grow your store,
Yeah.
but the main one is the manager. I kind of think manager and purchaser is a different person, though.
I don't know. I don't really see purchasing being an issue as long as you have a couple suppliers with connections made. Purchasing's done. It's
Okay.
like literally, I'll send you an email once a week. It's delivered. You know.
This is why people buy a franchise. I thought about that yesterday, because it's the supply part.
Mm,
They give you the product. You're paying up to $2 million. It costs $2 million to buy a McDonald's, which is what my wife wants. That's the uh that's the buy-in for now. You don't need to think about what you're selling. They tell you what to sell, and you do the
yeah.
rest of it. So, we also met somebody that owns 80 McDonald's. Can you imagine that?
Think about all
80
the
of them.
diabetes they're spreading.
Yeah, they're killing a lot of people. They can't.
Yeah.
There's so many people in the world. It's shocking. Let's go with Shani. Shani, what are you compounding or making consistent?
I like this concept of compounding. I was writing the notes when you were saying that.
Hmm.
And you talked about how compounding could be replenishables, relationships. That's a good list. What else? What else would go on that list as far as compounding?
Anything that saves time compounds.
Right. Okay.
Anything that saves time, relationships, suppliers, anything that, okay, it's when you purchase. So I think the main one is time. I think each time you you purchase time, you could use that for something else. But it's better B2B. Like, for example, if you pay someone to do your dishes, it's different than if you pay someone to handle marketing for you, or you pay someone to go sales for you. And one thing with that Charitas mentioned, which is building an audience, um, this part is the most powerful, because you own the audience. Versus if you grow your eBay presence, eBay still owns it, Amazon still owns it. So if you can make, oh, this is also another thing that's compounding is evergreen items. Things that people reorder are compounding. And the most powerful companies are like supplements or olive oil, toilet paper, because people use them every day.
Hmm.
And also they're commodities in a sense that Trader Joe's can private label it, because you don't necessarily care what the brand of your eggs is, as long as it's a good egg. So what else would compound? That's a good thought.
Well, would it be like I told you the other day that my son built a macro
Mhm,
for sharing? That's a
mhm.
compounding.
It is.
Yeah. I need a list of all those things. It's kind of like this. If you ever go to the, I don't know how you pronounce the site, but the if then else, the IFTT,
Yep.
whatever,
Mhm.
and you go and you start looking at all their code, their macros, you go, oh, I didn't even know I needed that, right? Like I didn't know that could be automated. And so I think this idea of compounding, if we had a list of all the things that do compound, that we might say, wow, like for instance, the macro. I had no idea that was even, and
Mhm.
I'm a smart person. Like it just didn't occur to me that there would be a way to build that. And he goes, hey, mom. And so now, yeah, that has definitely helped to, increase activity and therefore sales. But I'd love to have a list of all those things. And our way of doing business, our eBay or online selling, I'd love to have a list of all the things that compound, like you already have started here, the replenishables, the relationships, the evergreen items. It's
Yep.
just interesting.
That's why the question that I want to ask is what makes the process better or what makes it great? That's the question I want everyone to think about every day, because you start reducing the amount of time it takes. And and I think a perfect process means you don't touch it at all. The most amazing apps, in my opinion, are banking apps. Every banking app I have is amazing. It like does exactly what I want to do with the really few clicks. And I feel like I was complaining on the internet saying, how come Chase is a bank and their app is so good, but eBay, like their job is to make the app good and it's not good? Why is the banking one so good? And people are like, dude, Chase has a way bigger budget and they can't make mistakes. They're like way bigger than eBay, and like they have a lot less room for error. eBay does all, like, you can't check your eBay bill on your phone. Why is that? Who makes an app where you can't check the bill? Never heard of
Or,
that.
or just like Amber shared the other day about Mercari. They have a place where you can go and it'll tell you everything, your sell through, it just gives it all to you in this great dashboard.
Yep,
Why
so does
doesn't
Poshmark. Yep.
Yeah, why
I don't
doesn't
know.
eBay do that? But I think that's part of our job, is to learn how to do those things for ourselves too. Because think of it, if they provided all that, then what would we be doing? I think it's a great learning opportunity.
Yeah, it's how is the sausage made? You want to kind of figure out the fundamentals. And it is cheating, because I think the people who have built their own website never complain about eBay fees. Because
What do you mean? The
if you
people,
if you make your own website, so Shaney'sAwesomeGoods.com, right?
Mhm,
You have 20 things for sale. You have to pay to get people to go there.
right?
That's, if you've ever done that, it's so hard. Then you go to eBay and you're like, oh wow, they bring the people to you. It's like totally different.
Yeah, and that's those of us that stay. That's what we know. The marketing dollars they put behind it are ridiculous.
In downtown San Jose, there's a train station in between San Jose State University, I think. And my friend and I, we went to an incubator, and every morning we went there before work because we only had time to work on our side hustle before work. We watched like 5,000 people get off the train and go to college. There's not one food place in between that walkway. We're like, now we're like, if we just opened a breakfast taco place, we'd probably both be millionaires by now, because of 5,000. Like, no one's capturing any of that traffic, and that's what I mean by buying traffic. That's one part of the equation. You can sell regular stuff if there's traffic. That's why cross listing is so cool. If you guys cross list on different platforms. Yesterday I met a lady that cross lists on 8 platforms, but with a VA. And the VA, like, this wasn't a thing even 5 years ago. Wasn't technology, and systems weren't advanced so that you could get that much trafficking and exposure. But also, she only has 100 items for sale.
That's easy to keep track of.
Easier to keep track, and they're all multi-quantity, but they're
Yeah.
all generic. So they're not premium stuff like branded stuff. But
Well, I'm sure
that's a good question, Shani. Go ahead.
there's got to be a system that can allow you to keep track of, even if you had 5,000, there's bound to be a way to track, where what you have of. There's just got to be a way. But anyway, I just think this is interesting, the compounding thing. The other thing that you had said about the asking 5 times the why. Tell me more about that. That sounds interesting too. I hadn't heard that.
So why do you resell, Shani?
For the fun of it.
So why do you want to have fun with it?
Why do I want to have fun with it? It's
Is your normal life not fun enough? Is it the adventure?
I think it's just different. I think it's my own thing. Like, it's not theirs. It's
Okay.
something that I can do on my own and then have something to show for it.
So why do you want something of your own?
Okay. Why do I want something of my own? I like the idea of having, when you start a project and then you end it, you can say, look what I've made.
Mhm.
So I think I'm thinking of that. I just don't know what that end product is.
Well, I think that's it. For a lot of people, it's the having something of their own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of eBay or resellers or side hustle people are not the main hustle. They're not the main income earner. So they want something of their own. There's also something to building something from scratch. But that's where you get into it. It's more about having something to call your own than doing something for fun for you. But I had to ask why a couple times to get there.
Right. But that you could go a different way with that too and say, why not do, I mean, I could go get a job somewhere.
That's right. But that's not something of your own.
Right. Right. Good point.
So
I
that's
just
what,
like
yeah.
this. I
Go ahead.
just like this idea of the questioning, the whys, the five. Why is it five? Where'd you come up with that?
Because I've heard that at that, if you ask 5 times, you're usually at the core.
I got you.
But it may only take one question, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you want to narrow it down. Like we could try Matt real quick. Matt, why do you want to have a store that operates without you?
So I can have my own sovereign land and I can do whatever the hell I want with it. I can go wherever I want, whenever I want.
So that's freedom, right? To do whatever you want,
Oh,
whenever you
yeah.
want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But some people want to work in it too, because they want something of their own.
I,
Some people want true autonomy.
I want tribe. I want people, man. I
I know.
want really cool, awesome people in my tribe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
And I
true.
could find that if I don't have to worry about working all the time.
Yeah, true. It's also really convenient when they're close to you.
That is true, but that's not always the case.
That is the case. Let's go with Sean. Sean, what are you working on? How's your resale business?
Business has been a little slow lately. So I do wild and firefighting this summer. So I've been gone for 9 days now. But also, when I come back home, I've lost a little motivation to pick up where I left off. It's usually like, rest time. So, but today I'm working with somebody on Fiverr to get some automation between posting. So I want to avoid Sellhound now. I like Sellhound, but and it's convenient, but it's not very cost effective, and it's not super accurate. It's fine, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's supposed to be finishing up today, and I hope it works out. But he has it automated to where I list my inventory at. I can just list my inventory tracker, more like, and then it uploads to eBay automatically, which is really nice. So he's making kind of like a macro for me. But
I have the exact same experience with Sellhound. It's great, simple, easy, but it's almost doubled in price since I started using it, and it does a B- job.
yeah,
It's okay. It will sell, but it could sell for maybe more faster if it was done perfectly. So what are you evaluating? What do you think the new cost is going to be having somebody else do it for you?
it's probably going to be pretty inaccurate for a little while. There's probably going to be some hiccups, of course, and then I'll have to smooth those out and figure out where the train wrecks are and get past that. But specifically, I'm trying to figure out what do I do when I have to put my whole store on hold and I have to go on a wildfire somewhere. So my wife is willing to kind of take some of the shipping responsibility, but she's not really interested in any of the rest of it. So I'm trying to figure out if I can get somebody to take photos for me and then put it through this listing process for me. But I'm a little far from that, to be honest. So I still have some time till I'm there.
You're in a great position to figure out how to leverage other people. If you have that need to be on call, then you have to think of ways to do it remotely.
That's it. And then also, to add complication, a lot of times we don't have service while we're out there. So my systems better be working, or I'll find out when I get home.
I love it. Yeah, that's in the 4-hour work week. You're not on vacation if you have to answer your work call. So can you set it up so that when you're gone, it operates? Then the ultimate compounding, Shani, is in when you take a vacation and come back, your business is bigger than when you left. That's like, insane. So that makes you think like, shrink your business to the smallest thing so that you can think about how to replicate it to somebody else. The more variance, the more difficult it is for someone to help you. Awesome. So, Sean, this has been, I'm trying to keep track of everyone's goals. So overall, in a month, have you thought about how much income and how many items you want this to be?
End goal type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to be doing about 400 to 500 a week.
Okay.
Items.
Okay. Awesome. So let's set a 2,000 item goal eventually. And you do want this to operate sort of without you, so it doesn't set on fire when you do other things?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, let's try our exercise. Why do you want that?
I think I kind of asked myself the why a couple times when you're talking about it, and I want to. I just got married last year, but we're really excited about starting a family. So I want to be able to move out of this tiny apartment and start a family sometime soon.
Awesome. That's a great why. And how would this help you achieve that?
Financially, we're just not quite there to
Mm-hmm.
want to welcome a new life into the world. So
I got you.
this is definitely a step up to help us do that.
Okay. So more savings, more income. Awesome. Yeah, that's like very common. I get emails like saying, "Oh, I'm about to start a family. I'd like to have a little bit more income. It'd make me feel more safe." So, right, what do you guys think? Right now, people are home, so there might be more people getting pregnant because of the coronavirus, but there also is way more economic uncertainty, which makes people not have kids at all. They're worried about money. Usually, people don't have kids. So I don't know. Is there going to be more kids or less kids because of this situation? It's been 6 months already. Or 5 months already. I don't know. Well, Sean, I'm glad that you're responsible and you want to make sure you bring someone into a stable situation. I love that.
Yep.
Yep. Let's go with Don. Don, what are you doing to compound or improve your business?
Well, I didn't hear the premise at the beginning, but as far as compounding, one thing I've been focusing on is any item that is multi-quantity, to supplement these large things that take time. I've been in my searches for random stuff out there, just things that I see. There's a bunch of them. I just like in this last, I got this box of electrical parts for $50, and it had a lot of these copper fixtures that go over like the light sockets, and each one was selling for like $10 a piece. There's probably 100 of them in there, and so just like I always spot items like that. So that was the photographer took the pictures yesterday, and those will go up. Even though I try to have this high ASP, doing that is great. And last year I bought some ham radios. I think I spent $13,000 on them, and it's quite a bit. And I usually sell like one or two a week, and I just took one photo. So just continuing to do that. I kind of stumbled on that by mistake just by buying some boxes of parts at garage sales, a lot of electrical stuff that's obsolete. So, that's the main thing.
So
Taking, yeah.
is this like a grading system for what you can take in, or is that what you're trying to? How do you determine if something is similar or a
No,
replenishment?
I meant like if I see a box of like the same thing over and over again,
Okay.
like it's not similar. I mean the exact same item.
Exact same item. Okay.
Yeah, I mean even if I see, even if I see 5 of them, I mean, but I mean I'll still buy one off. But if it's if it's a cheap part that's only going to sell for $10, if there's a box of 10 of them, it's totally worth it. Just the amount of time taking one picture. So that, and then it's just easier on the photographer. Just here, take one, do really good job on this item, and then put it away, list it. And that's just the immediate thing I'm thinking about as far as what I've been doing to compound, just to kind of keep these workers busy and let me focus on the big stuff that I don't let them deal with right now.
That reminds me of some advice I got from someone. If you want to guarantee, I'm gonna put this down, guarantee higher sell-through. So if you want to guarantee a higher sell-through rate in your store, which means things sell faster, what you want to do is put the same amount of effort into your store next week, but with less SKUs. Your sell-through rate will improve because your effort is now more intense on each item. You'll optimize them more. But that's kind of like, Don, if you're finding the exact same item, I mean, it's cutting down 80 to 90% of the work. You've already done the exact work before.
Yeah. It's. I remember when it first started happening. Wait, this keeps selling, and I didn't have to take the pictures. All the, that's just like duh. That's what they do in the stores. But I focus on that. Even though it's hard to find, that's where my eyes are peeling towards things like that. So, if I walk up to an estate sale or garage sale, I'll swoop on that thing right away.
You can even pay a little more if you know what it is, which gives you more power.
Yeah, and even in the listing, I mean, you could afford to do the subtitle if you wanted to stand out. You're going to pay the $1 one time for the item, and it's going to be there for the duration of the listing. So I'm about ready to run out of those radios. And I was just thinking, listen to what you were saying yesterday or a couple days ago about sniping. I know exactly how much those sell for, and that's an item that I should start trying to snipe. I even found a guy who's buying them directly, just through PayPal. We just bypassed it. I was selling him so many per week until the value is decreasing on them though. They're dropping, and so he started saying, I'm not paying you this much anymore. I want to pay you this. Is that cool? And so I sold him a couple times, and I just stopped dealing with him. He's too good. He's getting me back. He has a big company. He resells them, but so he knows the market. So I kind of stopped doing that and just went back to eBay, and I might wait till they're out of. I just kind of raised my price back up, just because now we're running out. There's not as much out there. So, but
yeah, if you snipe all the time and you know what it is you're looking for, then you can spot why things are cheap and why they're not. And the little variances, like I remember Prince came and visited me, and he only sells GoPro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we went to the flea market. We saw maybe 10 GoPros throughout that experience. He knew exactly what was wrong with them, what they were worth. And it was like, he would say to the guy, to make a profit on eBay, you'd have to have a buy cost of 140. He knew all of the different items, and it was really amazing. But it makes sense if you only sell 7 items.
Yeah, and I get sniped all the time. A lot of things I sell, I'll look and see who bought it,
Mm.
and I just see they have a store full of these things,
Yeah.
and I'm like, which is fine because I usually get the stuff for cheap, but it's like that guy was looking exactly for that item, and I have some I bought a large lot of point of sale printers, and I listed a couple of them, and boom, they're just gone, and I'm like, what? So I look on the guy's store, and that's all he sells. It's just every brand of these printers. And then
I'm,
I thought, oh man, and then but I guess I priced it for the reseller. I didn't price it for the end user, and so at least it went fast. But if I were, I could have probably made $50 more, but he wouldn't have bought it. It would have sat there for until someone's printer broke. But he's got a store full of them.
I'm going to give you an example of a huge sniping listing. So, because that happened to me too. This listing right here, they've sold way more than this, but I had these shoes and they got sniped. So I bought them at Burlington Coat Factory for $9 because football cleats sell really slow in person. So this person has a replenishable listing. I think I sold mine for 30. Some of these colors though sell for 120. So this specific cleat is carbon fiber. Okay, so it sells for buku money, but you have to wait. Depends on the color too. But if you look at the pricing,
And a sort of Viking color.
right? Some are selling for 200. So
Wow.
these were literally $10 at Burlington Coat Factory. So there's room in this specific colorway to make, decent money. And their whole store is full of stuff like this that they're looking for and just snipe from other people. Look at their listings. They're all these replenishables on certain styles. Like really cool. And look at that, 60 sold on the same listing. This is like the definition of compounding, Shaney. This person is like,
Yeah. And the whole sniping thing that because I never have been able to just, I don't spend enough time but find things online, source online. I just let me try to get something, and I just never can find anything. But if I know exactly what I'm looking for, then that's the way to start being able to do it. Because I have several products that I've sold that I just know will sell. So just hearing that the other day, that was an eye opener for me. So might have some time this weekend to start playing around with that, putting in some of the automatic searches to get flagged when the item gets listed by some dummy like me who doesn't know what it's really worth.
that's right. Shaney, what's your thought? Yeah, so I listed them at 40 or $50 and I paid 10 and they sold instantly. So I'm like, okay, somebody got an alert. I mean, how would they even buy it that quickly? So, and it's the word carbon, Nike carbon. They're probably just looking through all the carbon fiber. Sometimes Nike they don't put carbon fiber. They just put carbon, whatever. That's one of the search terms that person is looking for. Because you can look at the solds and then look at their store. Actually, just look at this. You could just copy this person's store. They already figured it out on, they figured this out on, let me see how many items they have. They have 2,300 listings. Okay, but they're cheating. So Shaney, they're doing the ultimate exposure hack. They have the listing in the super variable. So this style, all the different colors, but they also have each individual style listed individually. So they get all the exposure. So an alert would be considered compounding because it's saving you time.
It would be, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I just feel like if I had a list of those, I could go through them and say, oh, I could do that. Or I could do this. I just think those would be helpful.
I made one of my first videos is when I first started, I went to Amazon ASD and it was an event it's not Amazon ASD, it's just ASD in Las Vegas, mostly Amazon sellers. And I noticed people were carrying around little notebooks. I noticed that right away because I've never noticed that at eBay. things. So they're writing down things that they're seeing supply wise, and they're also referencing. So they might, I'm sure that their lists are pretty long of what they're looking for. So all these things that Don was talking about, they probably have written down on a cheat sheet, and they're just taking notes as they walk through the trade show and looking for things that match what they do. Because from my understanding, the event's 3 days long, but all the good products sell out in the first few hours. So that means people know what they're doing when they're walking through there. Because the first day, I'd say, looks like 10% of the stuff goes immediately. Because if you walk through, people will put sold out on their booth. And if you start the first day at like 10 in the morning, you're going to see a bunch of it sold out already, which is amazing. I mean, somebody's already determined that's a winner somehow. So maybe that's a good way to do it. Go to Amazon or go to these trade shows, go the first day and find out what's sold out. Someone's already done the homework for you to figure out what's good, you know. Let's go with Ash. Ash, I'm glad that you're outside. What are you working on?
I'm working on getting more products, like different ones other than the 2 replenishables that I have.
Okay.
And I write down here a question because I forget. I was gonna ask, if I list one item and I have 10, will that count like 10 listings?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last sentence?
If I have one product, but I have 10, that will count like 10 lists in a day or just one?
It depends on the sell-through rate. It counts as 10. If you list one item with 10 quantity, that's 10 items. The same as 10 items. It's better than 10 items. It's better to have one quantity actually.
Because I was telling Shani early that I went to a thrift store. I hate it. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I just went to Dollar Tree and tried to find stuff. At first, I was just picking up stuff and searching like on the eBay app. But then I realized like this is not what I really want to do. I would really want to focus more on like organic products and cruelty free and stuff like that. So I just went to that section and I find 69 items, like the same one, but I buy more of them. I found like maybe 6 different items and I buy multiple of them. And I just list some of them last night. So that's why I asked if one listing with multiples will count like multiple listings. And yeah, that's what I'm working on. I also write down your question of why I'm doing this. Is to, I write down no more necessity, because when I was little, we also have problems like we didn't have money for paying the light bill or the water, and like not even for food sometimes. So that's one of the stuff that I don't want nobody else in my family to go through that.
You mean
And
not
so my
worrying about
second reason
necessities?
will be to help. Yeah, like we didn't sometimes even have money to buy toilet paper.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That was like horrible. So I don't want that to happen, because at that age I didn't have the knowledge to know like, oh, I could just sell a bottle of water for $1 and then buy some toilet paper for my family. I didn't know that. So I don't want that to, we are not there now, but I don't want nobody else in my family to go through that. And I also write down help others. Like right now, when my extra money is sad to me sometimes that I need to not give money, just they will pay me back. But I have friends like 45 and I'm lending them money so they can do the stuff, and that's really sad to me. So like I'm happy I could help, but it's sad like they're in that position at that age.
And this goes back to what Jeffrey was saying earlier. You have to have a plan for the money that you make that's extra. Like, that's why I don't really like people personally that are like, I just want to make exactly enough money to take care of myself. Because it's like that's cool, but like why only the exact amount? Like if you do a good job at what you're doing, you will have extra.
But I also don't want to lend them money all my life because that doesn't solve the problem. So my second reason why is
Yeah.
like I want to teach them how to manage their money. Like right now, I'm the only one with good credit of my old friends and family, and that's nuts. Like I'm only 24. Why do you have a good credit? So I try to
Yeah.
teach them how to do it, but they kind of don't get it. But I'm like, look, I show them my information, my money. I'm like, I'm doing it. Like, why you cannot do it? You have like 20 more years than me. What the hell? But that will be my main reason. Like, no more necessity and teach others, mostly my family, to like progress at their own. Because I don't want to be lending them money all the time. 'Cause I'm not charging interest. I just lend them when they have it back. They pay me, so that's not good for me.
You know, it is becoming cool to be financially responsible, kind of. In some circles, it's actually cool. But I think that you're right. You're actually teaching people skills that, I mean, that's the idea behind my channel. My channel, it shows people how to earn extra. But what you're doing is different. Like showing people how to be responsible is a very different message.
Because most of them, like it's like people say, some people like us, we have mentality of boss. Other people have mentality of employee.
That's right.
So you cannot change them like from employee to boss, because most of them they would just never get it. And I have friends that are like that. I'm like, I have a friend that have a farm, and he just work on the farm, and he still work another job because he never figure out how to manage the farm himself.
That makes
So it's
sense.
like, dude, you have the whole land. He raised pigs and chickens and rabbit and all this stuff, and he never know how to manage it. Like he have plants, like I don't know, plantains, every fruit. He never figure out how to manage it. I'm like, bro, you have a lot of money on your land, and he doesn't know how to make that money. So he will be only an employee. He will never change. He's like 35. So I know he would never change. Like, but I could give him a job if I figure out how to grow my business. That's kind of what.
That's awesome.
Some people are not. It's sad, but some people are not born to be bosses, I guess.
I think it's different. It's a different skill set. A boss doesn't actually know how to do anything. Have you like they don't have to know. They don't have to know how to do it.
Most of the time, my managers I work for, they don't even know what they are doing. They just know how to tell you what to do, but they don't know how to do it.
As an example, there's another Jeffrey on the call. He has a lot of employees, and he doesn't know, like, he has somebody on his team that answers customer service for eBay. He actually doesn't know how to do that himself, but he doesn't have an employee mindset like you. He's like, why don't I just get someone who's good at customer service to handle my customer service? I don't know how to do. I'll focus on other things. It's interesting. Yeah. But an employee would try and figure, it's different.
And the other question that I write down was, you asked how can the business run without you or without me in this case. So I write down 8 points. The first one is my bestseller item I could drop ship, so I could do that even if I'm traveling.
Okay.
Other items will be shipped by my employee that she's in PR. The third will be every item I have I can reorder online, so I never have to worry about going hunting stuff. The fourth one is the rest of the stuff I can do it by my phone, like listing, ending items, answer messages, and managing refunds. I think that will be like all that I have on my list.
Those are all location independent things.
Sorry?
Those are all location independent things.
What's that mean?
That means you can do it anywhere in the world.
Yeah. So that's kind of my goal, because like when I get back to PR, I want to move to the land to be a guest. So I want to be able to do all that, because Vieques is a little, if the island is complicated, Vieques, it's more complicated to get items there.
What struck me when I watched that PR show, they were saying the government didn't help us, nobody helped us, but our neighbors helped us. So that's that made me realize there's something really wrong. But that makes, imagine, like, they're supposed to be the United States, but no one did anything. But
You need
except
to
for the
check a
community.
documentary from Vieques.
Yeah.
Vieques was, you know about Vieques or you don't
Yeah.
know?
Well, yeah, a little bit from what you've told us.
There was war on Vieques. They were bombing Vieques and stuff like that.
Wow.
That's not even. I don't think that
Is that where
that
you want
ends.
to? That's where you want to live?
Yeah, they're not bombing no more. But they still have contamination, like the war tanks, the mines on there's a lot of beach that it's closed because there's mining there and they're active. They never clean it up. So it's part. You have half of the island, or maybe 1/3 of the island. You can live there. The other one you cannot live there. And it's sad because it's a beautiful place.
9,000 people live there.
I want to live there.
That's so cool. I love
the,
it.
the part that I love the most is that there is no fast food, there is no theater. Like it's all like it's like a small village. I don't know. I love it.
Awesome.
Tribe. Yes.
Sorry?
Neighbors.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah. Let's go with Bill. Bill, what are you working on?
I sent you some pictures of my work area.
I saw that. Thank you.
And there is a place in the corner where I'm going to make it into like a photo lab. So instead of getting a photo box, I can make that whole cubbyhole a photo box. So I've, setting that up right now. And again, my wife's helping me, which is really cool because she's just like, I don't want to anything to do with this eBay stuff. But the minute I start like talking about, I need to do this to figure out this, she's already going, oh, well, you need to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, show me how. So I'm kind of like hooking her a little bit on it, but it's funny the looks she gives me because I say, well, I meet with my group in the morning. And she's like, that group that meets at 6 a.m. I'm like, yeah. She's like, so weird that you're getting up that early. I'm like, yeah, but anyway, so she's looking at me different now because she's seeing what I'm thinking about and focusing on and wondering, what I'm getting in the mail and why am I filling it out and stuff like that. So that we're working on the photo thing. Two really quick questions. So I'm looking into the cubic shipping thing, and I noticed your video on the fit shipper guy, but I noticed you don't really talk about him much, and I hear people talking about pirate shipping all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we, and these are the third-party shippers that we use that help us save more money instead of eBay directing us towards like FedEx Ground on a lot of stuff where we might save money somewhere else. Who do we use now, or what's the group using?
Okay, so I can simplify. You need to learn about cubic shipping.
Mm-hmm.
And what cubic shipping is you're shipping volume versus weight. So back in the day, Fit Shipper, this is a really nice guy. You could pay $5 a month and use his cubic shipping discount. Okay, but now you can use Pirate Ship's cubic shipping discount without paying the $5 per month. They'll just share their cubic shipping rate with you. So that's the reason for that.
Oh, okay. And then you gave me an email about, I had a question in terms of the things that we talk about in meetings where maybe if I miss it, we can go to the notes to see
yes. Thank you for reminding me. I'll put that at the top of my list. I need to make that easily accessible. Because I'm recording these too, so I want to have an easy place for you to reference back if you want to watch it. But ideally, I can just take notes from each call. But I will. Thank you for reminding me. I will now do that.
Okay. Do you have the videos, like, so we can rewatch it?
Yeah.
Can you send me the link?
Yeah, that's what Bill's asking. I need to put that together.
Sorry.
No worries. No, that's my fault. I need to have that organized better. But that I'm gonna have a place where we're keeping track of all of our goals, the top practices, and then also contact information. If you guys want to share with each other, you can post it there, and then recordings of the videos.
You had also asked about like going through the why, like the five questions. And so, originally I started this because sometimes, you have your day job, but you come home and it's just not enough, right? It's not enough money. So what can I do on the side to make more money? And um, I've always felt like down the road, I would invest in real estate and do all this kind of stuff. So then you look at wholesaling and all this other stuff. I've gone down the real estate agent road and all that kind of stuff. And um, so I kind of stumbled on to reselling. Um, but I asked myself, all right, so why do you want to do this? Well, I want to pay my credit cards because I see the amount of interest that I pay per month, and it's just ridiculous. Like I could probably save like 900 a month just on the interest, and and that's to save money. So why do you want to save money? Well, I want the freedom to do more, the freedom to like say, okay, well the weekend's coming up, why don't we go to Laguna and have dinner and all that kind of stuff. Little things like that. Go traveling. Um, but I also would like to have the money to buy some passive income. And the passive income would then replace my job. So if I have enough passive income coming in, I wouldn't have to get up and go to my job. I'd actually have the time to focus even more on this business and reselling. Um, and then eventually I just want to grow a portfolio, and a portfolio, is, so much in gold, so much in stocks, so much in, other businesses, things like that. And then I get like financial freedom. So when people say, well, what do you want to do this? Well, I want to be financially free. Okay, well, now that you're financially free, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer there is I would love to have the freedom to look into things that I always like wanted to do. So like, for example, I want to know like how to network better or how a computer works better and all this kind of stuff. Well, you don't have the time to do that. Well, now you have the time and you have the money. So you could literally take something apart, and in that whole process with the business mindset, you can find ways to make money from that. Reselling is a great venue for that. So like you were saying about your friend with the GoPro, if I knew everything about the GoPro or something else, everywhere I walk, if I see that, I'll see opportunity everywhere. And so the whole idea of getting out of the mindset of being an employee and working is out the door, because now you're building businesses and things like that. And, also Ash had talked about, how sad it is to look at people and see that no matter what you tell them or show them, like the guy that I have who works for real estate agents, that goes and takes everything out of a house and takes it to the dump and saves stuff. He's now an electrician and he's all that. And I talked to him about building businesses, and he's all about it, but I can tell that he focuses more on being a good employee, where he could break out of that so easily, but you can't teach it. And I think when you're older, like me, if I'm above like 45, whatever, when we were young, we only had to worry about ourselves, we go around with our friends. But when you're older now, you're like worried about, your parents, how are they doing? Your wife and your kids. So you have to keep working because everybody sort of relies on you on that stuff. And that keeps you out of the mindset of owning a business because you have to train that area of your brain. You don't have time for that until things get so bad where it doesn't matter how hard you work, you can't get ahead, that it forces you there, or life just grinds you down. So, gosh, that's my rant for this morning. Listening to everybody and just like taking it all in. Anyway.
I also know it could be hard, like, because I don't have like kids or nothing to take care of. So I know I have, you could say, kind of an advantage in that way.
I hear that where a lot of people when I was your age would say, God, you're so lucky. You have so much time. And I'm like, really? You know, you just don't see it, I think, until you get right around 43, because you're still hoping to do something as you get older. Oh, I have time for that. I have time for that. I'm going to do that. I'm working towards this. And finally it hits you, you know, when you're getting close to 50, like, wow.
I always tell to myself, like, people tell me that, I'm like, I don't have enough time. Like, I need to do this now. When I'm in my 40s, I don't need to do it.
Yeah, see, that's the difference between
But people
you
are like,
and
no,
people.
take your money. Why you save so much money? You have money. You should go travel now that you're young. I'm like, I'm not going to spend my money in traveling. Like, I need to make more money and then I can travel what I want.
And it's funny when you think about money a lot and you think about like the financial systems and how they move us towards going into more debt and more debt and more debt. And I just told my wife, I go, it's a full-time job just to run your life. There's actually no time for a job. If you just have that income, you could find out how things really work. But the financial industry really wants to put us in debt, you know, so you got to have a good type of debt instead of the bad type of debt. So anyway.
It's so weird having no bills. I
I
I feel naked in the United States because I'm like, I don't want any bills, and it's so weird because like I'm like used to it, but it's yeah. Ash, you gave some great advice, but go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna tell Bill that I sent a message with like a list of what he can do. I don't know, maybe he already have it, but that's like kind of the step by step what you should do with your cards.
Ah, cool.
And keep it update like every single month, like if it's a religious thing to take care of your cards.
I got to tell you, I have an Excel sheet that has all my cards, and when I make a payment, and I keep track of all my interest, and I keep track of how much I make per month net, and I can just, it's heartbreaking when I look at it. I'm like, how did I get in this mess? And I know how it is. It's like if there's an emergency, it's like you borrowed the money or you applied for the credit card and it took care of your emergency and now you don't have to wait. Now you're just paying $20 minimum. And
But
it's like
that's when the minimum at the end you're paying way more than that.
yeah, and 5 years later you still have the card, but the amount has gone on because you've been such a good payer that they increase your credit limit. So,
and you're gonna still have like bad credit, so that's why I tell people like try to pay it off.
So I, you know, all I need to do is pay my credit cards off, and boy, my FICO score would be so up there. But I'm like one of those people that says pays on time all the time, but I have such a high debt to income ratio, you know, and I'm frustrated with that. And as I work harder and more, I notice the people that surround me are like, hey, what are we doing tonight? You know, let's go have pizza or let's go have this. And the next night it's like, hey, we're going to make this dinner. Let's go to the grocery store and buy all this stuff. And, you know, there's like no plan on reducing it. And you're the only guy in the crowd saying, hey, we need to do this.
I always say, you don't need that. When people are going to buy something, do you really need that? And they look at me like, no, I don't really need it. So put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but yeah, I take the risk
sell stuff that people don't need. Go ahead.
I take the risk. A couple months ago, I invest $2,000 with my credit card. I was freaking scared because I was like, I don't even have the money to pay this back. But I invest that money to buy the stuff that I'm reselling, and now it already pay off. So I have all my credit card in zero again. So now I know I could, if I want to invest more, I could do it, and I manage like how to pay it.
That's awesome. I always scares me when people are like, I just spent $2,000 on a new photo system. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Spend it on inventory. Like just in the beginning, if you're gonna do that, buy something that it's like the PayPal working capital loan is so tempting and people will take it out and go on vacation. And I'm like, are you serious? That's for your business. But yeah,
And like I tell everybody, I want to be like the inspiration, because like for people that say I cannot do it, because Chris know that when I start, and the other ones that were on the call, that I started the first 2 months and a half with my phone.
yeah, it's
Like I
awesome.
didn't have internet in my house. I didn't have nothing. Everything was made by my phone. And like a lot of people say, no, I need a good camera. I need a laptop. I need internet. I need an inventory. I'm like, you don't need that. You just make your first sale and just keep going from there.
Yeah.
Let's go
That's
with
good.
let's go with Sally. Sally, can you chat? I think she can.
Yes, I can chat. It's
What?
something wrong with my computer. That's going to be the next thing that I'm going to update.
No worries.
It
What are you
does
working on?
whatever. Well, still, I couldn't get online properly or whatever to get the sheet to start entering the items that I have
Okay.
that need to get listed. So I got to figure out a password or whatever it is that I have to do that. So for the most part, what did I do yesterday? I went and did a little bit of sourcing. I picked up another Lazy Susan because that's what I use to put the mannequin on and turn that thing around so I can do the front and the back of the clothing. And that was about it yesterday. And then I came here and tried to work with the computer a little bit, but it's been acting up where that it has a delay no matter what it is I'm trying to do, even if I'm trying to touch up pictures. So sometime today I'm gonna take it and get it checked out. Yeah, so far, not a whole lot has gotten done, but I'm still chugging along slowly.
Let's see here. I wanted to show this store before we call it a day. This is Sale Area. It's near me. And I would say that their photos are like a 3 out of 10. They're not very good. They're everything looks a little bit disorganized and messy, but this store does $30,000 a month because they just list a lot. So it's just about consistently getting things up for sale, and they have a lot of auctions. And this pair of shoes, I should see, they missed a huge keyword, so I'm going to watch this. This pair of shoes is the Nike SB Low Halloween. So I know that. They don't know that because it's not in the title. But check out the prices on this thing. It should be $400, but they don't know that. So hopefully I can win this auction. Here's somebody selling it for $1,000. But yeah, again, it's interesting looking at how people do things. Just get it done. But everyone have an awesome weekend. See you guys next week.